Okay, so welcome back to the final segment of Citizens Forum. In this segment, we're going to be talking to Mazin Al Nahawi. Mazin has worked for us and done lots of great volunteer work at Shaw and has done some great film work and things. And Mazin is a member of the Communist Party of Canada. And Mazin wanted to have his candidate, who is a registered candidate in the next federal election, to be able to attend a candidates meeting at the United Church in Esquimalt last week. So the candidates meeting, I want to call it an all candidates meeting, but it's not an all candidates meeting, was being hosted by the Dogwood Initiative and the BC Sustainable Energy Association. So I just want to set this up, Mazin. I'm just going to give a little bit more background where you had asked to attend the meeting and have your candidate sit at the table with the other candidates. And then you ran into some problems. And maybe you should just pick the story up right there as to what happened.
Okay. Actually, the story it's two parts. The first part about their exclusion to our candidate. And that it's different from what happened last week, which was mainly blocking member of the community and the supporter of the communist candidate Tyson Strandland from not even to participate in debate, also to attend with other people, other member of community in a public debate. So that here another dangerous action by a group called themselves Democratic Group.
Okay, so
ironically, one of the group which is part of Dogwood Initiative called themselves Let BC Vote, it's not allowing member of the community to attend public debate in election time.
So what happened here basically was they weren't that interested in having you come to the meeting, although they never told you not to come. And then when you came with your group and you had your candidate with you, they barred you from going into the meeting.
Mm-hmm. Actually,
and as we'll see, and as we're going to put up on YouTube, there's some film up there showing how the incident unfolded, where they held back your group and allowed others to go into the meeting. I think that's what you're talking about. It wasn't only disallowing your candidate, but also not allow members of the public from attending a public meeting.
Exactly, and it's the issue. It's they're having. When they call us to train, they usually call people to donate money to train their volunteers, and unfortunately, their volunteers in that scene, they were doing what I could call the gatekeeper's role. Many of these volunteers, they want to do something good, and they seek to do this kind of activism
really,
through society.
They could be placed in a very unfortunate
exactly.
place.
The organizer put the volunteer in a very
That's
awkward
right.
position. And the organizer, one of them is Jeff Bittman from Transition Sooke and BC Sustainable Energy Victoria chapter, was standing aside, using sometimes the video, but not doing anything at all. Lindsay Easton, I think, the communication director of Dogwood Initiative, she's the one who went and called the police.
Yes.
And they claim many reasons again. Before that, for the exclusion, they claim time and management first. Later, they said our candidate's name is not on the ballot. Today, they mentioned that there was no place or capacity now. And our videos show exactly how they were letting people on the side to go to the hall, meanwhile blocking us from attending. It was on video. So I don't know how they claim that there is no space there.
So basically what happened, you folks arrived to the meeting, you wanted to enter, they barred the door and wouldn't allow you in, and then there was a little bit of pushing going on. I never saw it. It wasn't shown on the video, but that was reported. And then one of the organizers phoned the police. This is all shown on the video. And by the way, it's great viewing, Mazin. You just did that with a cell phone. It's fantastic camera work. And then the police officer arrives. And basically what transpired after the officer arrived?
The officer actually was, at the beginning, came and told us, we don't want you here, or the organizer
Yeah.
don't want you here. It's a private meeting. So they gave the officer or the police department a wrong picture, telling them that we are trying to disturb or we were just trying to get in. Even if our candidate stood up and said, I am a candidate, I have right to be there, he's doing his duty as a citizen and as a candidate. They kind of anticipated this kind of scenario.
Yeah.
So they wanted to keep with their undemocratic decision of excluding us and also continue further by not allowing us to attend, fearing from this kind of scenario, ending up calling the police and tell them that, and the police later find out that no, there is people can go inside and outside, and
Yeah.
there's even some people were leaving at some point. So he started to question them about the real issue.
That's right.
And I would like from people to go and see the clip. It's really damning about how these volunteers and how these organization were doing a gatekeeper, and not more than that, they consider themselves the guardian of our democracy, and nobody can question them. And further calling the police to enforce their
right.
position. And they wished us to be in the end wrapped up and thrown in prison. And with this talk about fear and security, we could end up in a very harmful position because of calling the police. And we
Yeah.
would like to thank a lot, a very special thanks to Reverend Benoit, the minister of the United Church. She was the one who stopped everything and told them they have the right to be here.
So let me sort of recap, because I've seen the video. Basically, the police arrived. Your party said that you were in the midst of an act of civil disobedience, that you weren't going to leave. I think the police officer was a little confused what he should do. Then he called in his supervisor. He's waiting for his supervisor to arrive, and during that time, the minister of the church arrived and said, "You folks are welcome here," and she just overruled basically what the Dogwood Initiative and the BCSEA Sustainable Energy Association position was on it.
Exactly.
Now, we want to let people know that this is a good news story.
Yes, and
Things happened badly up to that point. So tell us what happened after that.
And more good story to that. We appreciate very much the response of the candidate Randall Garrison and the candidate David Murner from the Liberal, the NDP and the Liberal. Both of them were so firm. Randall Garrison said absolutely yes with that when Tyson stood up and asked the candidate about his right to be sitting with them on the table, responding to the community because the community put his name on the ballot.
Yeah.
So Randall Garrison said absolutely yes.
Yeah.
David Murner, and I agree with him, said shame on the organizers for that exclusion.
Yeah.
And that is part of the good news. And plus, as we mentioned, the great stand of Reverend Benoit of the United Church.
Well, that's the good thing, is that you did get into the meeting, and when your candidate asked, what was your candidate's name? That's
Tyson Strandland.
Tyson Strandland, and he's running in the which
with the riding of Esquimalt, Saanich, and Sooke riding. And by the way, I would like just to read some of our platform because this is an important thing. I wonder why they are blocking us from that. So give people,
just kind of give us a.
So this is here our People Voice magazine. And part of our platform is create job, increase wages, expand universal social program, and poverty, peace and disarmament, tax the greedy, not the needy, public ownership and democratic control, insecurity state laws, keep industrial job in Canada, global environmental justice, act to halt climate change, nationalize energy and national resource, expand public health care, fair trade and sovereignty, not capitalist globalization, justice for Aboriginal peoples and Quebec, full gender equality now, fight racism, sexism and homophobia, a democratic immigration policy, a future for youth where education is for all,
Yeah.
a bill of right for labor, make every vote count, supports family farmers, defend Canada's food sovereignty, and finally housing is a basic human right. Some of these issues relate to environment, and for a group like PC, Sustainable Energy, and Dogwood Initiative,
Yeah.
we want to care about environment, not allowing these views. And another incident, they did not allow the
I'm just going to ask you though, firstly, Mazin, can you get this publication online?
It is online.
Okay.
It's the People's Voice, and people can go to the Communist Party of Canada
Yeah.
to see their
Okay.
platform. But another party were excluded from similar debate about environment, the Animal Alliance Party. And his point was 75% from greenhouse, it's from the meat industry.
Yeah.
So now, but they did not mention anything about that. So my question is
Yeah.
to NGO who work for environment, when they talk only about certain story, ignoring LNG, for example,
Yeah.
meat industry. So are they really about environmental issue?
Well, that's one question, but the common sense question is, after looking at, hearing what your platform is, what ideas in that platform that they find so threatening or so repugnant that the mainstream Canadians may not want to hear these points. This is, to me, the most troubling aspect of it, that this platform seems very reasonable, very peaceful, protecting the environment, protecting human rits, protecting...
Bring people back to power. We own everything. We decide for everything.
You know, like, I think the Communist Party of Canada has a history of being registered in Canada for almost 100 years.
1922.
So this is a kind of a thing that I think we should all be concerned about when third-party registered organizations get involved in the electoral process. And the BC Sustainable Energy Foundation and the Dogwood Initiative should be shamed for this action, in my view. And I think we're going to follow this up in further coverage. And so I guess we're going to have to wrap this up for today. And but we are going to go back and cover this again. So have a nice week, folks, and see you next week.